Superiority. It's an attitude. It's aggressiveness. It's a mastery. It's an ever-going arms race. To design the fastest, the most agile, the most precise. Through trial and error, through combat loss. It's a race without a finish line. It's people, marked with stories. Getting in that machine again and again. Without an ounce of fear. With ice in their veins. Who take that hit unflinching. Looking their enemy dead in the eye. Machinery of war, with engines burning red-hot, with missiles twisting metal. Machines made to do one thing, to search and destroy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the preview of the new upcoming Air Superiority stream. My name is Marcus Boom, I'm joined here by Tom, aka Oxy, and let's get right into it, shall we?
Why not?
This is the F14, and I have Tom over here joining me as well in the SU27, two of the new top tier jets making its way into the game in the upcoming updates. And particularly also not the only versions, no, there are multiple variants of the SU27 and the F15 as well. Now you may notice we're on a bit of a strange map here, and this is a new air map that we are launching in this update. There are going to be two versions. This one is the ground strike version for arcade, called Volcano Valley, and we also have an even bigger version for Air RB. Now let's have a quick look at the overall flight performance. Let's go full boost.
Why not?
Let's see how fast we can actually accelerate these things. The F15 should have a bit of a higher thrust to weight ratio than the SU27, although right now you're really pulling away from me.
Zooming.
Although, hold on, wait, I still have my fuel tanks on. Let's get rid of those, there we go. At full fuel loads, at least at similar fuel loads, the F15 should be a bit faster than the SU27, but these planes are going to be rather competitive against one another. I would say the SU27 has a bit of an advantage at lower speeds, given that it does have HMD, as well as some very impressive low-speed maneuverability, but both of these planes are absolutely massive. I feel like if we can get a bit closer.
I think the SU27 is pretty.
Honestly, I tend to agree there. I mean, the F15 is iconic, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it looks so much sleeker. The F15 is just blocky to me. You know what I mean?
Are you going to make a lot of people angry in the chat there?
I just think it looks nicer. What can I say, man? I like
now,
it.
we do have a fair few features to show off today, not just vehicles. We, of course, have rank 8 tanks. We have a new top-tier jets, the F15 and the SU27 not being the only ones. We have some new visual effects for tank fires, as well as for catapult launching from aircraft carriers. We have some new abilities to activate some universal backups when you are actually in the battle.
As well, yeah.
Which is huge for the program. Oh yeah, we also have some tutorial missions for air-to-air weaponry.
That's really nice, actually.
Weaponry.
I'm very happy about that.
Honestly, long overdue. I'm really glad to see that. And a bunch of other stuff. So, let's go back to the hangar. I will show you quickly the new effects for catapult launching in the F14, while Sam's going to be preparing something else in the meantime. Alright, let's go into a test flight with this thing, shall we? F14, of course, is not new. I'm just taking this plane out because it is one of the few top jets you get with a carry launch. Now, we didn't have this before, but when you launch now, you get a bit of a smoke effect there on the catapult, which does linger a little bit. Sadly, I don't think you were really going to be seeing too much of this in an actual battle.
No, it's still a nice little detail, though.
There are also some new effects when you land on various surfaces, mostly on the ground, on pavement, on all kinds of different stuff. So just nice, neat little visual additions. Let's now switch over to Tom, who has a test drive ready.
Yeah, small family detail here. So now ATGMs that have separate sights now have that sight modeled. So if you are behind a small hill and you can't really see, obviously you can still fire ATGM from the sight. But there is now a sight that you can use to manually control just the ATGM. And I believe this is relative to where the sight for the ATGM is, so it's different for all the vehicles. And then you can use the ATGM as normal. And there's also some new fire effects. Some new sparks, new explosion effects. And the actual fire effect as well is really, really nice. Hopefully I can slam the leopard there. And there's some little sparks, little fire effects in there. A lot nicer. I think there's one guy that goes mental on these every update, and they're always better. Like, every time we have an update, I think that they are the best they're going to look, but I'm wrong every time. Very
Are
nice.
there differences between the regular gun sight and the ATGM sight?
Yes, so I believe the ATGM site doesn't have the markings, so they are different, and they are at different elevations as well, and I believe that is independent depending on the vehicle.
I believe this also seems like a different zoom level.
Yes, I think they are different. They do have different thermals and night vision and that sort of things as well, so they are dependent of the sites, and everyone should be a little bit different.
Very good. That's not the only quality of life update here. We also have something new for people who may not be too experienced in using advanced air-to-air weaponry and air-to-ground weaponry. In the upcoming update, when you look at your modifications and you have something like air-to-air missiles or even unguided, manually guided air-to-ground missiles unlocked, you will be able to actually go into a special little training mission, which will teach you how to use this kind of weaponry. This will be available for IR air-to-air missiles, semi-active radar homing air-to-air missiles, as well as manually guided ground missiles and laser-guided ground missiles. So as you can see, we have a bit of a tutorial here. I will actually go into Reddit mode so you can read the text and have a quick look at the tutorial itself. It will tell you how you activate your missiles, how you use all your different kinds of munitions, which of course for the experienced player is already something that you know, but this is a huge thing for newer players out there who may never have interacted with these kind of armaments before.
Yeah, it's a lot of new things to learn when you get a new vehicle like that, and having them there is really approachable and really nice.
We can also have a quick look at the air-to-ground manually guided missile mission. This is... let's see if we can actually hit this. We'll see.
It's the dev stream curse.
It is... Although, last dev stream did actually kind of
the last one was good, yeah. We finally beaten the bad luck.
Oh boy. Okay, let's see. Now, the mission does pause every time it gives you some new instructions, so you just have to press the buttons that it tells you to, and it will continue. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it?
Faith.
Boom.
Yes.
There we go.
Look
Easy.
at this man go.
Never doubted myself.
Incredible.
All right. Now, those are most of the new quality of life stuff. Let's take a look at the vehicles then, starting off with the last detonations.
A couple little things for Israel. This is basically the M109A1 variant for Israel now. Cosmetically different. You've got obviously, I mean, it's Israeli, it's going to have extra guns on it. You've got the 50 cal on the barrel, looks nice, and all the extras on the sides as well. And I think some of them are physical. So some light cosmetic elements to it. It's the coolest looking one, of course. Good for the lineups as well. And now there is also the M113 tow as well, with some extra elements that don't have textures yet. Skins. But yeah, good for the lineups. I mean, it's nice to have these cheap vehicles that you can spawn in. They're basically up-tier proof, which is nice. But they are, we've seen them before really, but good to have nonetheless. So.
I should mention, by the way, keep in mind everything you see on the stream today is work in progress, so don't be too serious about the stats and the battle ratings you see, as well as the tech tree positions. Speaking of which, can you show where these vehicles are in the tech tree?
Yes, I can. So first one after the M109, and then the 13 tow over here.
All right. Israel is also getting a new top-tier jet, which is an F15 variant. I'm just going to spoil it right now. There are 3 F15 variants coming in this update for Israel, America, and Japan. All right, this is the Israeli one. It's called the Buzz. Yeah, what can you say about the F15? It's an iconic jet, probably, I believe it's the highest kill-to-death ratio in real life, something like 105 confirmed kills to 0 losses, which is kind of insane. Don't expect to do that in War Thunder, but you have access to some pretty decent weaponry. This plane can carry a total of up to 8 missiles, 4 IR missiles, as well as 4 radar missiles. There are some slight variances between the F-15 models. This Israeli one is unique in that it gets access to the Python 3 missile, which has higher maneuverability than the AIM-9M, although it doesn't have IRCCM. So it is a little bit more susceptible to flares in that regard. You also have access to TV-guided bombs, as well as some regular bombs, plenty of fuel, and you will be happy to know that it comes with a ton of countermeasures by default, 240 in total. You can basically just let this thing run for a while. Flight performance is pretty good. The thrust weight ratio is roughly a little bit higher than the SU27 when at similar fuel loads. Although when you do fully load this thing up, it will be quite heavy. Keep that in mind. And I've also noticed that the wings are a little bit fragile. If you do have the new boosters installed and you do a full horizontal pull, anything above 11 Gs, you tend to rip your wings off. So it takes a little bit of finesse in being able to use this thing in a dogfight properly without, well, you know, destroying yourself. We're going to be talking about the other variants as well, but first, let's switch over to Sweden.
Yep. Another one today, the Strv122B+. Not too many differences from the PLSS that we already have. The main difference really is some extra side armor, these composite screens. They are deceptively good at stopping heat rounds and some ATGMs. If they're flat on, I believe basically all of the standard heat shells aren't really going to be able to get through. It's pretty strong. And so if you're angled against helicopter ATGMs or even some of the more powerful ATGMs, they are going to be blocked by this. It does also have an extra modification underneath, which is the mine protection. A few of these tanks, new tanks we'll show today, have this. So obviously there's no mines in the game, but it's mostly for if you get someone shoots HE underneath you or something like that. It does add a lot of weight, so probably in most situations it's best to take it off. But it is there as an option. It gives you a little bit more protection underneath. Aside from that, it's just a slightly heavier, slightly better protected Strv122 for Sweden.
I am a little bit sad it lost the little circular extending body.
I know,
of the
that is a
PLSS.
bit of a shame. It also looks, I don't know, the hull reminds me a bit of the E100, and I don't know why.
Kind of, not
It
to
sort of
mention,
does. Yeah, I like this. It looks very sleek. It's much sleeker looking than the PLSS. Very pretty. I like it.
All right, next up for Sweden, also a new top-tier jet. This one has been long awaited. Can you guess what cockpit this is from? Of course, this is the JAS39 Gripen.
It's so sweet.
It is surprisingly small compared to, well, the absolute behemoths that are the F15 and the SU27. This is roughly comparable to the F16, actually, both in size and in overall capability. It can carry up to 6 air-to-air missiles. In this case, I have 6 equivalents to the AIM-9M equipped on my plane. The AIM-9M, of course, as you know, is quite resistant to flares. And let's just say this thing is, yeah, we are in realistic mode right now. I'm not sure if this will be the final flight model as it comes to the game, but it is very, very, very maneuverable. It can turn very well, it can pull huge amount of Gs. The only problem is, since it is sort of a delta wing design, it does lose a lot of speed in these kinds of turns, which in prolonged dogfights is going to be an issue. You never want to be slow in a jet. However, if you want to do some aerobatics like this, pull 14 Gs and not even break your wings off.
It's just nuts.
It looks absolutely amazing. I love the way this thing flies. It's going to be a great dogfighter. Now, this is actually not the only Gripen coming to the game. The Swedish ones are... The Swedish tree is going to get the A version. The UK is going to get the C version.
South
African, yes. A South African C version, with the major difference there being that the UK one will have HMD. So you can aim your missiles by looking at the enemy without needing to necessarily have your nose pointing at them. Similar to the MiG-29, SU27, all the good stuff. So I have a feeling the UK one is actually going to be very, very nice.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see that.
Out there.
It's not ready yet. We can't show it to you yet, but it'll be ready pretty soon. I don't know if it'll be ready for the first dev server. I assume probably not. Maybe for the second one. But yeah, that is coming. We just can't show it to you right now.
17G! Oh, there we go, finally.
17 Gs. Absolutely.
That is unironically the first time I was able to break the wings off of this thing.
You really tried earlier as well.
I did. You really have to try this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a quick look at the modifications and the loadouts. This is a multi-role fighter, so not only do you have access to a decent air-to-air loadout, you can bring the AIM-9M equivalents, you can also bring radar missiles. These are Sky Flashes, I believe. You can also have combination pods, much like the Harrier GR7, which allows you to bring an absolutely insane amount of countermeasures. You have 80 inbuilt large countermeasures, as well as 640 on top of that if you bring these combined IR pods, which are... You're never going to run out of flares on this thing. It's insane.
Absolutely not.
You also have access to a thermal targeting pod, which you can use to guide your laser-guided bombs, as well as various dumb munitions, rockets. You can bring the flare pods by themselves, and you can bring AGM-65s as well. So overall, a very capable aircraft, very, very similar really to the F-16 in both its size, combat ability to both attack air and ground targets. This should be a very, very, very good plane. And once again, not only is Sweden getting one, the UK is also getting one. All right, let's have a look at the next nation. We have France.
I love the look of this thing. I did not know it existed until like a month ago. It's really cool. So this is a new anti-air for France truck. The ammo should be here, I think. You've got a lot of dudes hanging out on the back, standard. So you've got a dual mount, 20mm Ehrlichen cannon. It's functionally the same as the 20 on the R3 T20 and the Istavark as well. But you just have two of them. It does generate quite a lot of recoil though. If you fire from the sides, it will tip up a little bit, but if you fire from the front or the back, it should maintain decently well. And I believe currently this is placed in between the MX-10P. Yeah, cool vehicle. I like this. I mean, it's pretty nice that France are getting some anti-airs. I mean, it's pretty capable as well. It's one of my favorite guns. It's the one that I feel like I can lead the best, even after taking breaks with it. And having two of them next to each other is really nice for lead as well. So yeah, very fragile. But offensively, it's going to be pretty good. It has the AP round too, so you can do some light anti-tank stuff. And the velocity, well, the rounds per minute, pretty huge. You've got a huge volume of fire with that thing. It's going to be nice.
I can't get over how many men this thing carries.
Neither can I.
Real quick?
Neither can I.
Why?
They're just taking their friends for a drive.
I mean, it doesn't make you more survivable, but at the same time, this is a very vulnerable truck.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you poke the back out from behind cover, you can sort of protect the crew, although the ammo will be there, I'm pretty sure. So maybe you can get a little bit of artificial survivability with it, but why don't you just taking your chums out for a little drive?
France, what more can you say? Thankfully, France did not only make weird vehicles, we also have this thing. Oh, look at it. It is so beautiful.
It really is, though. Like, I'm not super into like modern jets as much as you, but I can still admit it's really pretty.
I mean, the camouflage is absolutely massively done. Yeah. But even on the plane itself, I have to say, there's something about having a Mirage, but making it twin engine that makes it look just nice.
It reminds me of another plane that I can't really work out in my head, but I like it. Maybe it's a bit like the Javelin, maybe. I don't know, but...
This is the Mirage 4000. It's like the 2000, but twice as good because it gets two engines. And yes, you can imagine the power to weight ratio on this thing, the thrust to weight ratio on this thing is going to be absolutely insane. I'm going to take it out into a little test flight just in a little bit, just so you can see. I believe out of all the jets we're adding, this has some of the best acceleration and climbing ability. It's really, really good. However, it does have some limits. It doesn't come with flares by itself. You need to install them in some additional pods, which thankfully do not occupy any of the pylons for the missiles. But if you want to use this thing as a bomber, you may have to make a sacrifice here, not taking out these 250 kilogram bombs. You have some limited ground targeting abilities as well with laser-guided bombs and the AS30L laser-guided missiles as well. And you can carry up to 6 air-to-air missiles, either 6 Magic 2s, or if you want to swap 2 of them out, you can also bring the Matra Super 530F radar missile. I'm going to take out this loadout here real quick and bring it into a test flight just so you can see how insane this thing really is. Now, we're going to be playing with a minimum fuel load and once again, work in progress. So keep in mind, this may not be the final flight model. We're just going to go straight up from the runway. What do you think?
Go for it.
Now, you do not get any kind of drop tanks with this thing, sadly. Which I'm not sure how well that is going to work with RRB and some of the larger maps. 2 fuel tanks are going to be quite fuel hungry. But yeah, you can just, climb straight up and still gain speed. No big deal.
I just noticed how big the tail is as well. That looks weirdly large from the side.
And keep in mind, let's still have our missiles on. Let's quickly drop them, shall we? Bit of weight reduction. Yeah, let's just keep on climbing faster and faster. This thing is very good.
It's giving me like Key 10 from 2012 vibes.
Yeah, the helicopter Key 10. Oh man, that's an old meme. Alright, maneuverability is decent. This is a Delta Wing, so do expect maneuverability to be pretty good. Although at the same time, do expect energy retention to be somewhat subpar. Although, unlike the Gripen, you do have 2 very powerful engines, so you can kind of compensate that. Especially with this acceleration, which is just absolutely insane. Let's see what the turning ability is like. 12 Gs, maintaining 12 Gs, doesn't seem to be breaking the wings off, very good. Let's do absolute worst case scenario, the 800 IAS, do a roll turn. Okay, 14 Gs, didn't break off my wings, although you will definitely be able to break the wings off if you
intense deceleration, yeah.
It is, okay. It absolutely is. And I just have to say, it looks so beautiful.
It do.
The camouflage is perfect, twin engine is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, France has some really nice sort of prototype flashy skins, they're really nice.
I love it. Cockpit is not available just yet, but of course expect that to be ready by the time the update makes it to the live servers. Okay, this is not the last thing that France is getting in this update. We also have, chat, wake up, wake up. We have boat! We have
It's
boat!
time for boats, chat, come on.
It's time for boat. This is the premium Courbet. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. It's a battleship.
It's very old as well. It's like 1914, isn't it?
I believe something like that, and you can definitely notice that because there's absolutely no AA guns. AA armament is absolutely terrible. The turret configuration is decent. You are always going to have at least 3 turrets pointing towards the enemy, although they are only dual gun turrets. You also have some torpedo tubes on the inside, on the sides, or what are they? Right here. However, I'm not a very experienced naval player, but I can see a bit of an issue here. There's barely any armor underneath the waterline, and there's a huge old magazine right there, which may be a bit suboptimal. Perhaps. I'm not sure. We'll see how this goes. Okay, let's switch over to China, shall we?
Yes. You can have a look at the VT4B. This is a new top Chinese MBT. Pretty similar in design and functionality from the other versions. I can show you where it is. It's at the end here after the in the other export line. The most important change of this one is the APS. It has 2 charges on either side, and it's pretty good. So it's the max of 1400 meters a second. So even like slow kinetic rounds from a distance may be able to be blocked by this, which is pretty nice. Nice to get this. Some armor changes. It is different from the other versions that are present in the tree, but really it's very similar. It's going to be functionally very similar to the other version. So rounds, reload, depression, all that kind of thing. It's pretty similar. You do have a cool turret on the top. That's not functioning right now, but it will be soon. Also, you can see the texture is not quite final yet. But nice, gives more stuff for China. Also, we did skip over Italy. We know there's nothing ready for Italy yet, but there should be something a bit later on. We just can't show it to you right now. So please patient. Can't show it to you this second, but there will be something for Italy to observe a little bit later.
We are working on stuff.
Yes.
All right. China is also one of the nations getting, well, this thing right here. It's called the J11. It's an SU27. I believe Escape, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, this is one of the 2 SU27s making its way into the game in this update. The one, of course, being for Russia. This is going to be your counterpart to the F15. And why is it so big?
It is a bit.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
I believe this is about twice the size of the MiG-29.
You don't think about it, do you? But yeah, it's pretty hefty. And I believe this is basically a copy of the other model from the SU27 from Russia at the moment, but it should have its own unique model a little bit later with a different skin as well. So this is more preliminary, but it will have some changes to better match the actual look of the vehicle.
Now, there are some actual advantages to the massive size of this thing. One, it can carry up to 10 missiles. I believe it is actually a record in War Thunder right now. It's absolutely insane. You can bring R73, the export variant in this case, which is, of course, your thrust vectoring short-range IR missile, which is pretty good. You also can bring out the R27, either the ER or the ET, the radar or the thermal variants, which I've loaded over here. Thanks to the big fuselage, you also have a lot of fuel inbuilt into the plane. You don't get any drop tanks on this one. You also have 96 large countermeasures, which is not the most, but also not terrible. It does alleviate some of the issues that some early Russian jets had with lower countermeasure numbers. However, this is probably one of the planes that has the biggest difference in flight performance between having a full tank and an empty tank.
It's really noticeable, yeah.
It is really night and day. This thing on an almost empty tank can just dance around the enemy all day long. It is extremely maneuverable, even at very low speeds, has great acceleration, great climb rate, great everything. But when you fill this thing up with fuel, which you will need to in some of the bigger maps, especially because you don't have drop tanks, it turns into a bit of a bus. It doesn't turn very well. It doesn't accelerate very well. It's a bit of a trade-off in figuring out exactly how much fuel you actually want to bring out with this plane. Quick look over the armament again. You can bring out some dump ground ordnance as well, rockets and bombs. No guided ordnance, so this is very much intended to be a air superiority fighter first and foremost, with the option of bringing some bombs. And yeah.
Where is it placed in the tech tree?
Where is it placed in the tech tree? It shall be right after J8F. So if you want to prepare, get to J8F. If you don't have it yet, then you can get the Chinese SU27. But don't worry, Russia will also have one. Okay, let's check out Japan.
Yes. So this is the Type 99. It's got kind of like Vidar vibes. It's not quite 100% ready to show completely yet. It does have the same rounds as the Type 75 right now, and they do have the same velocity. I believe that should change. So not too much to look at right now as it currently stands on the test server. But this is basically a new advanced SPH for Japan. Very long, very nice. Good for lineups as well. Again, it's going to be a good vehicle. And hopefully quite easy to aim the shells as well when they get a bit more velocity. So that should be nice.
It doesn't get a laser rangefinder, right?
Not right now. Obviously, I think this was just added to test very, very recently. So it's missing a couple of things at the moment. Yeah, there should be some changes to it in its current configuration. I'm sure when the dev server comes out, you can have a look at that, which should be sort of on the horizon quite soon.
Oh, actually, yes. Speaking of dev server, we are planning on opening it today. Save any errors or issues that come up. So if you want to check out the new content, you will be able to very soon. Make sure you download the dev client right now. It's available on PC, on Mac, and on Linux, I believe. You can Google War Thunder dev server, install that, and preload the update for the test server. And soon you will be able to play it yourself. Okay, next up for Japan, we also have the F15J. This is a license-built version of the F15C, if I am not mistaken, with some minor differences to both the Israeli and the US F15. Main one being, you have access to the AAM-3.
Yeah.
I believe, in most circumstances, this is going to be the best IR missile in the game, even beating out the R73.
Yeah, it's quite nuts.
It has IRCCM, so it will be quite flare resistant, very much similarly to the AIM-9M. And that's the issue I was talking about while breaking the wings. It is quite easy to do that.
It is, yeah. I think I destroyed the F-15's like no-death reputation within like a minute of taking off.
Oh, same.
So it really is quite deceptively easy to break it apart.
Now, let's have a quick look at the stats. I believe you can see that clearly on stream. These are basically in every single aspect better than the AIM-9M. They have bigger pull, they have more explosive filler, they have speed is actually the same, but these are just incredibly powerful missiles. And this is the only plane getting them, at the moment at least. So this is the distinguishing feature of the Japanese F-15 in particular. Although you may also notice it doesn't get any ground guided bombs.
No, yeah, it's more limited in that regard. Absolutely.
So this one feat exchanges a bit of, well, ground pounding ability for just absolutely insane missiles, which you can still take out together with your radar missiles. And it should also have a slightly better radar than the F-15A variants. So these should be very nice. Okay, next up we have the UK.
Yeah, some bong stuff to show you. This is the Challenger 3, I know. But the P version, this is not the production, it's the, well, so the preliminary version. Obviously, it's a bit naked when compared to the earlier Challenger 2s. Armor is not really improved in any respect. The only real difference, I believe, is around the mantlet, which is different. But the main the main advantage that you have is the firepower and mobility as well. It has the 1,500 horsepower engine from the 2E. Very nice. And it has Gen 3 thermals, quite high up. Commander optic as well. And as it has the L55, you have the M53, which is really powerful. Currently, I don't know if this is going to change or not. It was hard to get confirmation. The reload is really good. So most of the Challengers have that 4-round sort of lap loading system where it's a faster reload. Currently, it has that for the entire ready rack. So 15 rounds, it has that 5-second max reload. I don't know if that's going to change or not, but right now it does have that. Really nice. If that's going to stay the way it is, Challenger 3 is going to be incredibly strong. And it gives you something that the UK was lacking a little bit. I mean, most of the top tier really is just how quickly you can reliably click on something to disable it. And so having the Challenger with this gun, the thermals, it's going to be really nice. Gives them a lot more ability to be reliably aggressive too. That's really good to see. We can also take a look at the premium, the OES, which is very similar to the Challenger 2 TES, the Theatre Entry Standard. Just I think with some different blocks. I think on the sides it's different, on the hull it's different as well. So much more defensive as a vehicle. It's still very heavy. Not the most reliably aggressive in terms of like active mobility, but it's still quite hard to knock it out in one shot. And you're playing defensive. It's pretty solid for that. But it's not going to be winning any sort of mobility related bouts in that respect. But still, nice vehicle. It's going to be decently well protected where it is. It's just not going to really have that mobility. But still, if you want to be a bit more defensive, it's going to be pretty great. It's, you know, nice, reliable MBT. And it's going to help you get to the 3P as well, which I'm kind of optimistic about that. I really hope it keeps the reload. It's going to be nice.
Rheinmetall reigns supreme once again.
Absolutely.
Okay, chat. Are you ready?
Also, I'm in arcade right now. It's the wrong engine horsepower. Don't... it's okay. 1,500. That's what we've got.
Okay, chat. Are you ready? Are you ready? We have something huge.
For
Chat.
the program.
We have boat. This is the HMS Orion. It is going to be a tech tree battleship just before the HMS Marlborough in the tech tree. Turret layout is actually very similar, basically the same really. You do have a bit of a trade-off in having more secondary weapons but of a lower caliber, and also absolutely terrible, in fact no AA whatsoever.
Yeah, that's something. So this one I think is very old. I think if you hover over the name card, it should say 1914.
That's a World War I ship right there.
It's quite... The thing I like about War Thunder is that you can have a World War I ship in the same lineup as a tank that's not yet in service. That's great. That's over 100 years of development. I like that.
You got some decent armor loadout over here, protecting your most essential bits. Some internal plating as well. One interesting feature that I found, it actually has a backwards facing torpedo tube.
Sort of interesting.
The Marlborough doesn't get that. So if you somehow are able to run away from someone in your big, slow battleship, you can still fire torpedoes at them. Let's go.
Let's go. Boat time.
Okay. Actually, chat, are you ready now? We have a big old tank announcement right here.
We do.
Look at it.
Look at this, man. So this looks like a final boss tank. Do you know what I mean?
It does.
It just looks mean. A lot of the tanks look mean. Yes, this is the T90M. Final development currently of the T90, so obviously it's in that branch at the very end here, rank 8. In terms of protection, pretty solid. You've got, obviously, the turret is redesigned. There's some ammo at the back as well. This is kept here. These are functional, these little mesh bits. So they will disrupt some of the chemical shells, most likely. And the turret is pretty redesigned. You can see all the differences yourself. There's also the ERA kit, which if I take that off, just so you can see the comparison, that's the side without. Log as well.
I love it.
You love to see that. And so, really capable vehicle. The only problem, obviously, is going to be it still retains the terrible reverse gear. So backing out of situations is not going to be that reliable.
The reverse speed on that one again, if you check the X-ray.
Let's have a squiz.
Ooh, that's, yeah, that's going to be a bit of an issue.
Yes. Turret on top as well, actually kind of cool. I like the firing sound of this machine gun. It's really, really nice. Yeah, overall, has that drawback of the reverse gear, but it's got great thermals, armor from the front. Like the thing about these vehicles that makes them really good is they've got a good sort of reaction time window. Like it's a bit harder to point and click on them. And so from the front, even slightly angled against some stuff, it's going to work decently well. I believe the round is currently just going to be 3BM60. There's not really any better round it could get in this stage as far as I understand. But really nice vehicle. It's going to be good. It's just a shame about the reverse. Yeah, nice vehicle. Even aside from that, you've got all of the internal stuff to help with spooling. Which makes them still pretty good for brawling as vehicles. But yeah, backing out of situations not going to be too easy. But it does look very pretty.
Speaking of pretty things, we have the SU27, and let me show one of my favorite features of this aircraft. If I go to around, I don't know, 800 kilometers per hour IAS, whee! Spin. Yeah, SU27, the flanker. This is one of the two variants. Of course, I already showed the Chinese version. This is the Russian one. Functionally identical, I believe very similar, if not the same flight performance. The 3D model will be slightly different once the update comes out. But you have a plane that is very big, but also very capable. 10 missiles in total. You can bring radar missiles, you can bring IR missiles, you have the R-73, which you can bring 6 of, which is kind of insane, as well as between 4 to 6 radar or the extended range R-27 thermal missiles as well. You have access to IRCM, not IRCM, what's it called? IRST? IRST, yes, infrared search and track, which you can use to log on to and search for targets without pinging their RWR. Speaking of RWR, this is another slight disadvantage this thing will have compared to the F15. The RWR is not going to be quite as powerful, but unlike the F15, you, at least currently with the light model, are able to pull basically without having to worry about ripping your wings off. You have to really try to rip your wings off in this thing. And if I go a bit slower here, I'm actually losing my missiles just to get maximum.
Oh, it looks so good.
It does. It really does. It is surprisingly maneuverable at low speeds as well. This thing can pull really high angles of attack without any major issues, really. And it's very easy to control as well. Of course, you don't want to go too low when you do these kind of maneuvers because, well, you will crash into the ground. But in a 1 versus 1, if you have low fuel at least, I am in minimum fuel load right now, this is very, very, very maneuverable. However, when you do put on full fuel, it turns into a little bit of a brick. Keep that in mind. There's a huge difference in between performance at full fuel loads and little fuel loads. Alright, quickly look at the modifications.
It also comes after the SU22, I think, currently.
Yes, let's quickly check the tech tree. Also, someone in chat asked about the F15, where that will come.
SU17, yeah.
SU27 is after the SU17. So you can prepare for that if you don't have the SU17s just yet. The Japanese F15 was after the F4EJ Kai. There you go. But yeah, functionally identical to the Chinese J11 versions. The same armament, no guided ground ordnance, but a very, very powerful plane. All right, next up we have Germany.
Yes, it's okay. That Germany gets a Leopard, it's okay. It's okay, don't worry. It's also very blue. I'm not sure why this is, but it looks quite cool, although I don't think it's sadly historically accurate. This is the 2A7V. Obviously, the main difference you can see is that it does have the beak protection here, which really does help against pretty much every round that you're going to fight. Really nice. It is heavier though, 66.5 tons. I believe it's a little bit lighter. That is taking into account the mine protection. I believe that's going to be changed. So it will be slightly lighter without that modification on. So high quality thermals, you of course have the same fantastic round. It is a little bit heavier, but with the extra the new transmission, it's not that you don't really feel much of a hit from it. It's still decently mobile, and I think this is kind of close to the peak of sort of MBT designs, because there's nothing that's really holding you back about it. You've got firepower that can deal with basically everything, armor that's good enough to stop poorly placed shots, mobility that will let you sort of do anything you want to do. So it's really, really strong. And yes, of course, the beak armor at the front, very powerful. Same one that's on the Leopards. So even with powerful rounds, hitting that beak, it's not going to go through. Really, really strong for catching bad shots. And that's what the later Leos are really good at. So yeah, the skin will change, sadly. Kind of cool to keep this.
I would really like to see the marketplace skin.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I think it's just like a texture debug skin, but it does look quite cool. I think the Finnish Leopard 2A6 has the bright orange one on the market. Maybe. We pray hard enough, potentially.
All right. Someone in chat asked about Italy. We have some stuff in the works. It's not quite ready to show just yet. We're not sure if it will be ready for the update, so fingers crossed. And you also asked about the JAS39 for the UK. Yes, the UK is getting a Gripen. It's a Gripen C variant, actually, for the South African Air Force. It's not ready to show just yet. Not everything that's going in this update is ready to show in this dev stream. You will be able to check out the things on the dev server, however, which may actually have opened already. So check that out after the stream.
Believe so, it should be up.
All right. Next up, we have the Tornado IDS WTD61. This is a premium Tornado for Germany, and it really is not a fighter. In fact, it is classified as a strike aircraft, and for very good reasons. Even though you do get access to the A9L, you only have 2 of them. In order to bring out flares, you need to research the flare pod as well. It doesn't have flares mounted internally. It doesn't also have any kind of guided air-to-ground ordnance. But you can bring a ton of bombs, and you will be able to go supersonic with all those bomb slots filled, unlike stuff like the F111 Aardvark, which just can't really do that. You have a huge sacrifice there. People are asking about the AIM-120. We are not adding advanced Fox-free missiles into the game just yet. That may be coming in the future, but not in this update just yet. We want to see how the stats go for these new planes that we introduce in this update. All right, you were checking out something out. Checking out something there.
We can have a look at the new Abrams. This is the SEPv2. Primary difference, of course, is the extra ERA on the sides. Also mine protection too. This will increase the weight, gives you a bit more protection underneath. Probably best to turn that off because the Abrams is getting kind of chunky now. 67.5 tons, you do start feeling that. But these roof tile slats on the side are pretty good against chemical munitions. It's going to help a lot in urban environments and against ATGMs hitting you from the side. But of course, that standard huge weak spot is always going to be there, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. But pretty nice. I think the thermals are the same as the previous M1A2. So the main difference really is this extra protection on the side and of course the turret at the top. We can also take a look at the M1A1 clickbait. This is the HC version, functionally identical to the HC in the tree. So you have the little soft kill APS system on the top here and chair. Can you put stuff on the chair?
I'm not sure, but have you noticed the left arm of the chair is broken?
Yeah.
I would like to believe that it's a reference to our streams.
Yeah, that poor armrest has been crippled by intense moments on your behalf.
Also, all those packets, those are all MREs. Yeah,
it's got a lot of little sort of environmental storytelling on the top here. I hope you can put the little gnome or the pumpkin on that. I would very much like to see that. But yeah, apart from that, basically the same. You do have some track armor on the sides here to protect the blowout in the back. But really, it's pretty much the same. But still, pretty competent vehicle. I mean, it's really nice. It's an Abrams. It's not really stopping you from doing anything. A good advantage of the Abrams is that they are, because of their weak spot, it's quite easy to get through the weak spot, but they are versatile to the point where they will never really hold you back from doing literally anything. So they're very reflective of your own performance. I think the Abrams are really, really good for that. Also, very quickly, the Catalinas have all had a model update. They're looking pretty fresh now. I remember the polygons on the engines for a very long time. Now they're really looking sleek. So all the versions have been updated, I think. and they look really, really nice. And I believe we haven't shown it. You can check on the dev server. Most of the Yak 3s and Yak 9s have a new cockpit as well, and that looks really good.
All right. We also have, of course, the F15 for America. This is an A variant. It will have access to TV-guided bombs as well as AIM-9Ms. So this is going to be our base F15. As we mentioned before, the Japanese version has slightly better radar and the AAM-3, which is a very, very powerful IR missile, probably better than the AIM-9M even. And the Israeli version has the Python-3 missile, which is... It's better in flight performance against the AIM-9M, but it doesn't have IRCCM, so it is more susceptible to flares. On that, you can bring out a bunch of drop tanks, your bombs, guided bombs, all the good stuff, and it just looks so nice. It is also absolutely massive.
It is a very hefty man. Also comes after the F4E currently.
If you want to prepare for that, there you go. And well, I guess we have a little bit of time left over. We can also show this thing, the USS Roanoke. It's a light cruiser. It's a boat. It's very long, by the way. Holy crap, I just noticed that.
It is, yeah. The turrets look strange to me. They're like 152mm dual mounts, but they look like the 127s that are on the, what is it? What's the one with the really long one that's basically the same with smaller guns?
Why is it so long?
Atlanta, that's it. Reminds me of Atlanta. But it is very long, yeah. Sort of Brooklyn-y. And it's kind of cool looking.
Just saying the US gets the worst one, technically speaking, because of the worst missile loader, but by no means is it a bad airplane. The flight performance of them all should be very, very similar. In fact, we can actually do a quick mock dogfight with the F-15 against the SU27. See how that goes. And in the meantime, chat, if you have some questions, leave them in the chat. I'm going to ask our chat mods to pick some of the most interesting ones that we can offer. We'll have a look through those in a bit. Although there's going to be a massive spam of chat right now, so be patient. We're only 2 guys. You are thousands, literally. Okay, let's have a quick mock dogfight then. We are going to load into the new map. As you can see, there's a big operation version as well. We're going to go into the ground version. Realistic, all good. Okay. I shall invite you into the lobby with the SU27. And let's see how these things perform. Sure. I would say for this dogfight, let's try to not actually shoot each other down. I want to see how maneuverable both these aircrafts are. Okay. We are going to have infinite fuel, so we can bring minimum fuel load to really see what the power difference there is. So I've got Mirage 4000. Currently only France is getting the Mirage 4000. It looks absolutely amazing and has great flight performance. If we have a little bit of time left over, we may do a quick comparison between the Mirage and the Gripen as well. Take minimum fuel. I was going to bring out a fuel load. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I mentioned this once again, the UK will be getting a Gripen. It will even get the C variant of the JAS39. Which should have access to HMD aiming for your IR missiles, which would be pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Alright, let's actually go low. See what the top speed is on the ground. And hopefully I don't break my wings off again.
I have faith this time.
This map is a bit flatter compared to some of the ones we have introduced recently, although you do have some big mountain ranges on the sides, which you can use, as well as some active volcanoes, which are spewing out lava and lots of dust. Now, as of now, at least, the volcanoes are purely scenic. They don't affect your IR missiles, nor will flying through the smoke cloud seize your engines, as they very much might in real life. But you can use them as, well, cover to approach from different angles and evade enemy radar.
I really hope they have some sort of effect, though. Like, my favorite ARB maps, the ones that kind of have tangibility like that. You can actually do, well, do things with the terrain. So that would be really nice.
Alright, I'm going to drop my fuel tanks.
Okay.
Let's see if I can turn without breaking my wings off. Oh, 11G already. You can't go full keyboard turning on this thing,
no,
really.
My poor keybinds.
Oh yeah, the keybinds were turning.
No, I've got
too.
my small mouse.
Small family mouse.
Small family mouse.
Alright, if I go a bit slower, maybe I can actually turn without breaking my wings off immediately. To be very, very useful. Now, the SU27 right now is at full potential. It has minimum fuel load, so it's going to be incredibly maneuverable. This is really not what you want to be doing in an F-15 ever. The SU27 is going to...
That's really nice.
Oh
Can
my!
you hear that?
I didn't know we had a TIE fighter in the game.
No, that's like...
Oh,
I didn't know we had... I didn't know that was added, yeah.
I didn't know that. But yeah, I can't outturn this thing. I cannot outturn this thing. Let's see if I can outrun you, maybe.
Okay.
I think I have a slightly higher thrust-to-weight ratio.
You're kind of zooming.
Although I think you have a slightly higher top speed at ground level.
Let's see
I'm
if I
pulling
can
away
catch.
right now. I'm really pulling away right now.
He's zooming.
But of course, the curse of the F-15 is if you try to turn too hard, especially horizontally. Ooh,
A blocky man here.
Oh my god, I'm actually surviving. What? What?
He live?
Okay. Big.
They live?
Big if true. How's your turning ability?
Pretty nuts still. Although my poor pilot is probably brain mushed from that turn, but...
Interesting, you're actually catching up to me there in the turn. Now, JAS39 doesn't have the best energy retention in a turn. And, well, of course, as you know, with a full fuel load, it's also quite heavy, so it's not going to accelerate very quickly. But in a 1v1 dogfight at the end of the round, the SU27 is probably going to be having the advantage there, especially also with the access to HMT and the R-73 missiles and more missiles. You have 10 in total. And, okay, you don't have as many flares as the F-15, which does get 240, but 96 large countermeasures is nothing to laugh at.
Yep.
Okay, let's break my wings. Why can't I break my wings? There we go. I broke my wings. Whee! Okay, we have a little bit of time. Let's check out the Gripen and the Mirage 4000 as well. If you don't mind, I'm going to bring out the Mirage.
Sure.
We'll actually stay in the same lobby. And let's check what chat is saying so far. What do we have? We cannot comment on battle ratings just yet. I believe the plan is to keep the current top battle rating, at least for the aircraft, just to see what the performance is like. They are not that much advanced over the current airplanes you already have in the game, MiG-29 and all good stuff. But we'll take a look at the stats, and if needed, in the future we can adjust those. Okay, Mirage 4000 time, you have the Gripen. The F-15J currently doesn't have any auto skins, but I can imagine there's going to be a lot of user skins coming out for that thing. The Japanese have a long-standing tradition of making their planes look absolutely amazing with a wide variety of incredible liveries, and I can't wait to see some of those in-game as well.
Yeah, like that sort of dark blue scheme they have is like my favorite. It's just very pretty. Yeah, I think we've got that on the F-16 and... and the F-104 gets a market skin of that. That's really nice.
Alright, Mirage 4000 in its full glory. I am on minimum fuel load. I have 4 Magic 2s as well as 2 530Fs, I believe. Oh god, this thing is just so fast. And Tom over here is in the Gripen. Small. That thing is going to be having a very interesting time in dogfights.
Yeah, it's... I was kind of... Because I don't know too much about modern stuff relative to other areas of the game. But I was very surprised by how agile it is at some of the slower speeds. I don't know how it can do that without disintegrating, but...
I don't know either. I really hope that's not just a early flight model where it can't break its
wings. I
wings
hope it stays like that. That's going to be amazing.
Especially in dogfights. And I mean, it kind of needs it because it doesn't get the advanced missiles that some of the other planes get. I mean, it does get the M9M, but you do only have 6 of them. Although with the countermeasure pod and the amount of countermeasures you have, that is going to be a huge advantage.
There he is.
Especially given the Mirage here, I need to bring countermeasure pods. I don't have countermeasures inbuilt into the plane. Alright, I'm pulling 12G. How much were you pulling there?
I think it was about 11, 12 as well. Or 13.
I believe I should have the advantage in energy retention though. Not out of design of the aircraft, we are both delta wings. But I have more powerful engines. Although right now you're keeping up with me quite well.
Yeah, that low... when it's slower, that's...
yeah. Can't keep up with that. The thing is amazingly maneuverable at lower speeds.
Yeah, that's... it pleases my brain.
I can't even do a Cobra. No. Leave me alone, you Swedish boy. Okay, let's fucking extend out of here.
Okay.
Full speed, go! I should have the acceleration advantage of the Gripen. Even though it is a much smaller plane, it just can't deal with 2 engines.
Yeah, that's you're really schnelling.
Zoom. I really like the way this thing flies. Okay, it's not going to be quite as maneuverable, especially at lower speeds, as the Gripen is, but the amount of engine power you have on tap is absolutely amazing. We haven't tried it out yet. Oh, I'm very close to your airfield. We haven't tried it out against the F15 or the SU27, but I'm very interested to see what the battles are going to be looking like once the update drops.
Absolutely. Have to see.
Okay, let's have a quick look at the tech tree positions. And some of the questions in the chat as well. So, actually, very good here. Someone asked about the tech tree position of the Mirage. I can show you. The Mirage, of course, is going to be a tech tree plane, and it will be after the F8, actually, not after the Mirage 2000s. So keep that in mind if this is one of the vehicles you're eyeing up in this update. What else do we have? I need to tap on so we can check. Is it possible that the new aircraft will raise the battle rating to 12.7? It's currently not in the plans, but it is of course possible depending on how the stats look. If we see that once the update drops, the vehicles are too powerful, we can raise the cap. Can you show off the AAM-3 performance? Not really in a way that you can see it very well, but I can show you the stats again. The AAM-3 is basically going to be the best IR missile out there. Well, kind of. It isn't thrust vectoring, not like the R73. So in very close range dogfights, the R73 is going to have the advantage simply because it can basically pull insane maneuvers, which the AAM-3 can't. But this has a longer range. It can pull 40 Gs. It is very quick. It is very, very, very good. And because it has IRCCM as well, it is more flare resistant than the R73. Can you show the JAS39 and will Britain get anything? I guess I can actually answer both of those questions in one go. Yes, Britain is going to get something. In fact, Britain is going to get a South African JAS39, and it is going to be the C variant. Sweden is getting the A variant. Major noticeable difference between the two is going to be the C variant that the UK gets will have HMD. So you can aim your IR missiles off axis, which is a huge advantage in a close range dogfight, which this thing is going to be very, very good at.
There's currently no camos for the F15s, but there should be some when the update comes out. I mean, that's usually like one of the later things that gets added. So right now, nothing we can show you, but it's pretty likely they will get them at some point.
The F15s currently do not have HMD. No, that is an advantage that the SU27 has over the F15. But the F15 does have a better radar warning receiver. Challenge free prototype in this update. Yes, we actually showed it a little bit earlier ago. You can see where it is here in the tech tree after the Black Knight /2E with a Rheinmetall cannon. Very pog.
Very nice. Yep, Gen 3 thermals too. Nice mobility for a Challenger, of course. It's going to give a nice aggressive option for top tier for Britain, and hopefully the reload will remain currently. Not sure if it will, though. We'll have to see. That's very nice. The
Gripen is here in the tech tree, in the Swedish tech tree. We can't show to you in the UK tech tree yet because it's not ready, but here it will be in the Swedish tech tree. Abrams are not coming in this update. We're not going to be adding advanced Fox-3 missiles into the game yet. And yes, I know every time we say no Fox-3 missiles yet, someone in the chat says, but we already have the Phoenix. The Phoenix is to the AMRAM what the AIM-9B is to the AIM-9L. Completely different things in capability, okay? Not quite ready for that just yet. Although, it may come sooner than you think. We'll see. The SU27 placement, I can show you both of them actually. The Russian SU27 will be after the SU17. So in the strike fighter line over here, keep that in mind. It's not going to be after the Yak 141 or the MiG line. Keep that in mind. The Chinese SU27 is going to be after the J8F in the fighter line over here. We could fly out the J11, but frankly, it is very much identical to the Russian SU27. Right now, in fact, it is a copy-paste model. We are still working on the final 3D model of the J11, which is going to be slightly different.
The 2A7V is at the very end, so it comes after the PSO.
Also, can we just talk about how blue it is?
Look at this
So
blue friend.
It reminds me of that one scene in Charlie's Chocolate Factory.
Oh yeah. I've not seen that in... How old are we?
Too old.
No. Oh
Too
dear.
old.
Yes, very nice.
The third vehicle in the Japanese lineup. Okay, we can. Chat, are you ready? It's boat.
What?
We have the Asago. It's a riverboat.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a Japanese, slightly modified version of the LCS 3 for America. Just get some different secondary guns, and I believe the rockets it can carry at the front are different as well. I don't think the American one has those. Yeah.
Does the Gripen have a radar warning receiver? I believe yes, but it is not quite ready yet. So what you saw on the stream is not the final version of that. Someone asked if there were going to be better shells for the T90. As far as I'm aware, no, because the T90 can't fit anything better than the 3BM60 in real life. There are some issues with the autoloader system, I believe.
I think, like, from what I understand, there's like one other round it can use, but it's basically the same to the point where there's not really much use in having it as another mod in the game. Functionally, it's very, very similar.
Here's the F15 placement in the US tech tree after the F4E. Someone also asked about the Abrams. It's going to be the very end of the lane Abrams, right there. Also, clickbait.
Clickbait.
I love it. You also have the Japanese F15, which is going to be also in the Phantom line. And can you guess where the Israeli F15 is going to be? It's also after the Phantom line.
Wowzers, trousers.
Incredible.
Yes, and the Leopard 2A7 does have advanced thermals as well. The STRV, I don't think does have Gen 3. It should be the same as the previous version. But the 2A7 does have some quite shiny thermals.
Do you think we have time to watch, to check the rework of Hurtgen Forest in 2 minutes?
Potentially. We could.
We could try.
If there is time.
Maybe we can load it up. Because I haven't actually looked at it yet at all. I'm not even sure what's different there.
No.
But yeah, we're doing a slight change to the Hurtgen Forest ground map. Oh, also, you saw the test drive. I'm not entirely sure just yet. There's a new test drive for ground vehicles. At least the map has been reworked a little bit. Everything else is still the same. We're not quite sure yet if that is coming to the game as it is. But we're working on stuff. Yes.
We will see.
The SEPv2 module and ammo. It's going to be the same ammunition as on the previous Abrams. This is purely just a upgrade on your side's protection against chemical munitions, really. As you can see, the shell is still the M829A2. And also, this is a double layer ERA. You have 2 different layers of ERA here on the side skirts, which is very, very powerful. Only a single layer on the turret, though. And the composite armor isn't quite as strong as the second layer on the ERA here, on the side skirts here. So if you have a high-powered ATGM, preferably something tandem, you can still go for the turret side. I tested with the 850mm HGM of the T90 and T80, I believe.
Okay, so I'm not 100% if this is the version that's been changed yet. We can see, maybe it's not ready. Yeah, this is the newer version. So we're going to have a very quick squiz around. Spawn, of course, now has this little defilade you can sit behind. So quite a bit of the terrain on these supplementary areas is different. I believe most of the internal part in the village is the same, but the surrounding terrain around here has changed. Have a little explore. We'll look at some final questions.
USS Roanoke, where is that going to be placed? It is going to be in... Tech tree, there we go. I believe in the Blue Water Fleet. In between the USS Fargo, USS Brooklyn, and the USS Tech Tree. There you go. Although it's classified as light cruiser, keep that in mind. Okay. Do you see any changes there? It seems pretty similar.
Yeah, I mean, the spawn protections areas changed.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the terrain is more flat on the north side. Have a little look on the south side as well. It's mostly the additional areas around the middle of the map that are changed.
All right. Well, I believe that is everything we have time for today. I believe the JAS server is actually open right now, so if you want to check out the new content that we have just shown on the stream, yeah, download the JAS server. It's available on PC, on Linux, and on Mac, I believe. Not on console, sadly. Log in with your account and you can check out this content, the new map, the new mechanics, all the good stuff. I hope you have a very nice evening and rest of the week and upcoming weekend. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, goodbye.
See you later.